started. Okay, we're going to get started. I know many of you, and I'm going to call you by name and embarrass you. Please sit down. Of course, I wouldn't do that, but we are going to get started. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed your meal as we resume our program. I also want to welcome our online viewers who are joining us via tonight's live stream to the department's YouTube channel. The link also has been shared to DOE's Facebook page. The video will be hosted there if you would like to rewatch or share with friends and family who are not here tonight. There are several representatives of organizations, businesses, agencies, college, and schools here tonight who have come bearing praise and gifts for our next State Teacher of the Year. You will find them listed on the last page of your program. I want to thank Ryan Kelly for joining us tonight to represent Advantech and for Advantech's generous gifts to all 20 of our honorees. Thank you, Advantech. Thank you as well to Kevin Ziegler of Jostens, who is here tonight bearing not only financial support for our banquet, but also a Gold Teacher of the Year ring for our state honoree. Thank you, Kevin. Our state honoree will leave with several other special gifts, such as a 2024 Delaware Teacher of the Year license plate, courtesy of the Delaware Department of Transportation, and a special gift from the past Teachers of the Year and gifts from DSEA, DSBA, and DASA. We are blessed in Delaware to have institutes of higher education that are strong partners with our K-12 schools and educators. Two of those institutions, the University of Delaware and Wilmington University, are represented here tonight, and each is honoring our state awardee with a full scholarship for a doctoral degree program at their institutions. We really do appreciate UD and Wilmington University for that incredible gift. Now, the part of the program we will look forward to each year, the chance to meet our 20 outstanding honorees. Each of the teachers represents the very best qualities of the profession of teaching. Each has the respect and admiration of students, colleagues, faculty members, teachers, parents, administrators, and members of their community. This outstanding presentation showcases Delaware's best. As each teacher's segment airs, I ask the teacher to join us for photographs, and that will be out that door in the corner of the room. That's where the official photograph with the head table will occur. Enjoy tonight's showcase. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the 60th Annual Delaware Teacher of the Year ceremony. Thank you, Voya Financial, for the generous gift that has made this evening possible, along with the support of the Delaware General Assembly. Tonight, we honor 20 teachers representing each of our 19 school districts and the Delaware Charter Network. One will be named the 2024 Delaware Teacher of the Year and serve as the first state's nominee for the 2024 National Teacher of the Year program. But first, let's meet our 20 nominees. From the Appoquinimink School District, Middletown High Engineering and Science teacher Corey Hafer.
When I was working in a research lab, I loved doing the science, and when I was trying to decide, do I want to go be a doctor and do med school, do I want to be a researcher and go get my master's there, I realized that I actually liked training students in the lab and training new hires. And my first day in the classroom, I interacted with this student and he asked me a question about earthquakes, and it was just like so fun being like, well, I don't know the answer to that question, that's really cool, let's look that up. And I realized when I was with those students in that classroom that that's what I needed to do. I feel very fortunate to work in my building, to have a principal and assistant principals who tell me every day, do what is best for kids. I feel like they have my back and they encourage us to try new things. And the Apo district is very innovative. And I had this one student who was just brilliant, and she mastered what I wanted her to learn right away. And I was like, I can't just let you not do anything more productive for the rest of class. Like, what can we do to challenge you? And she happened to be really interested in medicine and kind of studying cancer. And so we kind of worked on like, okay, when you're finished with this, why don't you go do this independent project? And so, each year just being open to, well, why do all of my students have to be right here on this day? Once you break that mindset, it's not easy to allow that flexibility, but it becomes possible. I feel like it would look like chaos to the average observer. I have clear learning targets, but it's kind of a free-for-all sometimes. Structured, and there's a clear beginning and end, and there's goals that we're working towards, but there's a lot more flexibility. Like on a given day, a kid might be using a laser cutter, they might be in the next room over using our 3D printing lab. One student might have this idea for something they want a 3D model while someone else is struggling with math from yesterday. And so we're all kind of working at our own pace, but also towards our common goals. The fact that every year kids come in with different questions, and they're all unique, and they make me work hard. I try teaching a strategy and it works, and then next year I come in and I'm like, I know this works, and then it doesn't work for this next group, and all of a sudden now I have to, on the fly, come up with ways to address it better for those students. And so it constantly forces me to learn, and I love that about teaching.
Hafer has a deep passion for teaching and sincere commitment to his students' success, said one of his mentors in his engineering program. I have seen how Mr. Hafer creates a welcoming and inclusive learning environment that encourages students to take risks and develop their skills. Mr. Hafer actively seeks feedback and collaborates with mentors to continuously improve his teaching practice and bring innovation to the overall program. He uses a variety of teaching strategies and technologies to engage students and differentiate instruction to meet the needs of all learners. His dedication to staying current by aligning the latest teaching practices with external business and industry best practices research is commendable and has provided a valuable and deliberate connection between the school, industry, and local community. From the Brandywine School District, Brandywine High chemistry teacher Nader Makarious.
Both of my parents are educators, so this was, I don't like to say it's the only thing I know in my life, but I always want to be a teacher. Even though with all the technology changes in our life, but human interaction will remain the same. And how to deliver, as we say, connect before content. So I'm teaching abstract subject matter. It's invisible. We're talking about atomic structure, we're talking about electrons, we're talking about protons. It's all imagination, how to visualize this in your head with 3D. So that's why my focus was on using models in teaching and learning chemistry. So this is how to help students to see what I see in my head. If the kids love hip hop, I don't like it, but they learn through it. I facilitate that. If someone like to assemble structure models, I have solid model, we call it physical models, balls and stick and plastic, and they build it and they design it. If someone is way interested in technology, animation, simulation, the days I learned chemistry is totally different. I learn it like on a chalk and paper and pencil. Now I have the luxury of using simulation where a student can touch the screen and rotate the molecule 360 degrees in the space. We have amazing tool to meet each student where they are.
What impressed me the most about Dr. Makarious when I took his honors chemistry course was his genuine care for his students, said one Brandywine High alumnus. To date, he is one of the few high school teachers that continues to reach out to check on my well-being as a young adult in the world. His approach to teaching was unique in that it appealed to a myriad of learning preferences. Visual learners could always count on an animation or brief video to reinforce our new concept, while kinesthetic learners were often able to learn about chemistry through hands-on examples during class. While a class like chemistry generally carries the stigma of being boring and difficult, I have grown to love the subject and gained a very strong science foundation as a result of Dr. Makarious' teaching efforts and approach. From the Caesar Rodney School District, Caesar Rodney High Social Studies teacher Melissa Rapp.
There is so much joy in this job, but I think one of the things that brings me the most joy is watching my students come in on the first day, especially freshmen, into their first advanced placement course. They're terrified, they're tentative, they're questioning their ability. And so watching them over the course of the year become these strong, empowered students who have new skills related to research and understanding the past and making connections between major events and what's happening in our world now is just so rewarding for me. Another entity of my job that makes it the best job in the world is the idea of community involvement and compassion. Freshmen come in and they've never experienced high school before. For many of them, it's kind of a scary thing. It's so important for me to connect them to their local community because this is a community that they're going to inherit. For many of them, they are driving the narrative of what this community is going to look like for the foreseeable future. And so by taking them out of the classroom and volunteering at the SPCA and at homeless shelters and doing supply drives and having them work with our littlest Ryders, they are now invested in this community and want to make it a better place. They're also developing skills like empathy and compassion and leadership, and those are central to who they're going to become as adults.
A student who took RAP's class as a freshman and now is in her advanced placement course as a senior said RAP has an innate ability to connect with her students and create a supportive, reassuring environment for learning. With unique and engaging activities like historical speed dating during the Enlightenment to a mock simulation of the Opium War debates, Mrs. Rapp is constantly searching for new and interesting ways to immerse her students in history while providing adequate preparation for the exam, the student said. She has urged students to explore their curiosity, invoking many meaningful points and questions, allowing us to observe history from all different perspectives. From the Cape Henlopen School District, Cape Henlopen High chemistry teacher Rachel Peacock.
I think for me, teaching was always a calling. I don't know that any other career path would have been the right one for me. Every kid in our society goes through our school system, and those are the future citizens of our communities. And if we're not investing in them, then we're not investing in our own future. So I think it's a time where a lot of students can feel somewhat lonely, even when they know who they are. And I think, especially in this age of understanding the mental health crisis that a lot of adolescents go through, it's important to do our best to make connections with them so that they don't feel lonely in this world. Chemistry is a subject that most people don't get the warm fuzzies about. When I mention what I teach, usually it's met with a groan, not like, oh, I loved that class. And so, for my content area, it does have to be a lot about people skills and building relationships and interacting, because the content itself isn't really going to be enough to get the job done. And so that's where understanding students' strengths and helping them develop study skills and critical thinking skills and getting to know their interests and what drives them as students in general, but not specifically necessarily related to chemistry. You can develop skills in any classroom that will serve you well no matter what path you take in life. This is about to be my 25th year teaching, and I feel like I'm just getting started and nowhere near the end of this path for me.
Former and current students praise Peacock for how she taught them to be better students. She taught me how to work through difficult material, obtain effective study habits, how to be comfortable in times of confusion, and to be able to look at a problem from a different perspective to create an alternative approach. It was Dr. Peacock and the confidence that she had instilled in me that led me to enrolling in AP Chemistry my senior year. What separates Dr. Peacock from the rest is her comforting presence, ability to connect her students to the content, and making small wins feel like huge successes, the student said. From the Capital School District, William Henry Middle 5th grade English Language Arts and Social Studies teacher Alexandra Griffith.
For me, I really feel like it breaks down into three parts. One, being kids. Kids are the reason that I show up to work every single day. I love teaching them reading. I love teaching them social studies, giving them the opportunity to debate really important issues and to really kind of see what's going on in the world around them. And I love providing them with opportunities to really see something they may never have had the opportunity to see before. Second thing that I love about going to work every single day is working with other educators. There's such a huge wealth of knowledge that is in each building throughout our state, throughout the districts. And I think that if we can all just pool that knowledge together, every kid will be able to do whatever that they want in life, because they're learning from the best when we work together. And I think the last reason that I make sure that I go to work every single day is I know that I'm making an impact throughout education. I'm involved with making decisions as far as with professional development, with curriculum. I've piloted several different curriculums, and I love being able to provide feedback. I love filling out the surveys that say, this worked really well, maybe we need to change something with this. So I really do feel like I do make a difference when I go to work every single day.
Griffith is recognized as a leader among her peers, an educator who supports and collaborates with colleagues. She takes new teachers under her wing. Her principal pointed to the 2 new teachers she supported last year as an example, saying she worked outside the scope of her responsibilities to mentor and build the colleagues. He said her efforts resulted in both teachers beginning to flourish in their first year, and equally as important, influenced both teachers to return to the school this year. In this age of difficulty with teacher retention, Mrs. Griffith has moved the needle just by being herself. From the Charter School Network, the Charter School of Wilmington Social Studies teacher Stephanie Trainer.
I really wanted to get into teaching to try to elevate student voice, and also kind of leave my mark on the world, to do something bigger than myself, to give back to the community that I had come from. It is kind of like a pixie dust almost that you can put out there to these kids over the course of a year to kind of change their mindset and make them feel empowered. There's not much in the way of compensation in this profession. The compensation really comes from our students taking the skills that we're teaching them and doing something positive with them. I want to put them out in the world equipped to handle all of the societal issues, to be able to speak from a place of intelligence and knowledge, and to be able to problem solve, to collaborate, to not be afraid to speak up against people who they see as in charge. And so I really push my students to question, to research, and to take action. And that's what I hope they're doing once they leave me. And I'm lucky to know that a lot of them have done that, because they come back and they tell me, I get such pride from knowing that I had something to do with that.
One former student recommended Trainer for recognition because of her dedication, enthusiasm, and passion for teaching and guiding students to success. Said the alumna, "I entered high school very shy. Miss Trainer helped me find my voice and served as a role model to me throughout high school. She helped foster my interest in politics and the environment into action and engagement with the community. In the classroom, Miss Trainer leads by example, speaking clearly and directly. She facilitates important conversations." Added the former student, "Miss Trainer works relentlessly in and out of the classroom for student success. I am lucky to have spent so much time with her over my high school years. She has taught all her students to be contributing citizens, effective community members, and better people." From the Christina School District, Brennan School Early Intervention teacher Emily Szymanski.
I always knew I wanted to teach. My aunt's been a teacher my whole life, and so I knew I wanted to teach, but I didn't know that I wanted to work with students with special needs until my senior year of high school, I did a program called Blue Gold, and that program links up high school seniors with a buddy, and the buddy has special needs. And you do really fun things with them, like you go to bowling and baseball games and things like that. And my buddy was 10 years old. Her name was Alex. She was nonverbal. Blue Gold definitely helped me with that process, because it opened my eyes to that world, and not only to people with special needs, but to their families. And I just had so much fun with her, and I really just felt so comfortable around her. And I thought that if I have fun doing this, I should probably make it my career. So when I first started working, I worked in the preschool program. I worked with like 4 and 5-year-olds, which I loved doing, but a room opened up for 2-year-olds, and my principal asked if I would like to work there. And I was nervous, but I said, sure, I'd love to. I love seeing those first signs of communication with my students, and those first signs of engaging with the world around us. That is so special to me, to work with the youngest learners, because everything is so important and so new and so fun. Every little milestone is so big in my classroom, and that's why I do what I do. But I really think when I see my students use their words, and that might be through the picture exchange communication system, it might just be through gestures that they're connecting with us and showing with us, that's so powerful to me, because I'm giving them the tools to connect with the world around them. I'm so grateful to be able to provide that for my students and their families, and I'm really honored to do that. I feel really special to be able to provide that for my students, and I hope to do this for years to come, because I love doing it, and I feel really grateful to have this opportunity.
Sancesky is known by her colleagues for the structure of her classroom and her strong instructional skills. She is extremely well-versed in evidence-based teaching techniques and always stays up to date with current practices so that she can educate her students to meet their fullest potential, a colleague said. Emily is very skilled in adapting each lesson she presents to meet the needs of each individual child. However, the component that stands out the most when you enter Miss Sancesky's classroom is the love felt in the room. Emily models kindness, love, and grace with every student she works with. From the Colonial School District, John G. Leach School Special Education teacher, Michelle Ryder.
When I was younger, I would play school with my cousin Christopher, who has an intellectual disability. And he always told me not only was I going to be a teacher, but I was going to be a special education teacher. And he was absolutely right. And that was the highest compliment he could have given me, because he thought so highly of his teachers. Just seeing how confident he was, and the teachers really facilitated that with Christopher. And so that made me want to do the same for my students. I really wanted them to feel valued and appreciated the way that his teachers made him feel. And so every day when I go into my classroom, that's my goal. I want students to feel loved. I want them to know that they are valued, appreciated, and that they can do anything that they set their mind to, that I believe in them. And if I can leave each day saying that I did those things, then I would say it's a successful day. When I think about my students and making a difference in their lives, all I can keep coming back to is I might be making a difference in their life, but they're making a difference in mine as well. They have just truly changed who I am as a person. They've taught me to embrace challenges and push myself to levels that I didn't know was possible. They taught me to love without judgment. And, you know, I think we need more of that in the world. And I wish everybody could come into Leach and meet our students and get to see how amazing they are, because I think the whole world could be a better place getting to really know our students.
One of Mrs. Ryder's greatest strengths, a colleague said, is her ability to support her students in having high expectations for themselves and striving to reach new goals. Working in the Skills for Transition and Resilience program for adult learners aged 18 to 22, Mrs. Ryder delivers vocational and independent living skill instruction that will enable her learners to transition into adult living and to be contributing members of their community, as well as active participants in all aspects of life. Through collaborative conversations with her learners, she inspires them to find ways to increase their independence throughout their activities of daily living. Through her creative programming, she is able to provide real-life, tangible experiences for students to practice these skills in her classroom. For example, she built a small apartment in her STAR classroom for her students to practice their activities of daily living, such as managing clothing or vacuuming the floor. Her expectation in this room is that all members of her classroom community contribute to keeping the apartment maintained. This provides students a real-life opportunity to practice their activities of daily living and make meaningful contributions to keeping their classroom apartment up and running. From the Delmar School District, Delmar Middle Science teacher Lauren Webster.
Growing up, I knew I always wanted to be a teacher. I have a younger sister, I have a lot of younger cousins, and I just really enjoyed being there for them. So being around kids is something I knew that I always wanted to do. Teaching's definitely where my heart is. I truly wouldn't want to do anything else. I think it's really important that the kids know that you care about them, because when they know you care, they're going to put forth that extra effort for you. You're there for them. It shows them that you care about them as people, not just as a test score. In this day and age, there are a lot of mental health issues that happen, so I think it's really important that every kid knows that it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to be themselves. It's just a matter of reacting and being that adult or that teacher, that staff member in their life that can just say, hey, it's okay, we're going to work through this, and just giving them ways to be able to know it's okay to show your emotions, it's okay to be upset, but let's figure out how to get through it the correct way. Our educational curriculum is so important, but I think setting them up to be successful as they move through their life, that's even more important to me, just because everyone is good at something, and it's just a matter of us helping them figure out what they're good at so they can pursue that once they get out of school. When they graduate from high school, they go to college, they go to a trade. It's just letting them know that everybody's good at something and helping foster that mindset for them. In education, there's good days, there's hard days, but regardless, every day is rewarding. The kids, it's so rewarding to know that you have kids like that just come and need you every single day, and I just always strive to be the best that I can to help them get through whatever they may be going through.
Webster is known for always putting students first. Said a colleague, every decision Mrs. Webster makes within the walls of our building and in her classroom is always for doing what is best for her students. Difficult decisions must constantly be made as an educator, and her influence in deciding what would benefit her students academically and socially goes above all other things. Mrs. Webster adjusts her instruction when needed depending on what she observes from her students' class performance related to targeted standards to help her students succeed academically. In addition, she encourages her team to make logistical decisions that will benefit students with time management and for safety when traveling around the building. It is evident that she puts her students first and wants her students to know how much she cares about their success and well-being. From the Indian River School District, Sussex Central High Agri-Science teacher Casey Revel.
I'm very much a people person, so I always like to form those relationships, and my husband always makes fun of me for that because I'm always that person everybody, and I just start talking to people, but I think that has helped me become a good teacher, if you can define that, just because I'm invested in my students and knowing their background, knowing what they like, and at that same point too, then they get to know me. When I was in high school, I became family friends with this student and got to understand, because I really didn't have experience with kids with severe learning disabilities, and I think it just kind of opened my eyes to that was the moment I think I knew I wanted to be a teacher. That was something, helping somebody, something along the way. And I don't have any spec ed certification at all. I'm very big on, when people come into my classroom, I don't want them to notice that they are from Howard T. Ennis, that they are just one of my kids in my classroom. It helped me realize, these students are coming into my classroom. It might not be to read a whole article or do something like that. Them just writing a plant name and copying it, that's what's going to help them. Them learning how to garden or how to plant a plant, that's going to help them because they have a different goal than some other kids might have to. You can teach them the content and everything, but at the end of the day, especially in our world today, I'm just trying to teach these kids how to be good human beings. That's the big thing.
A student called Revel a trusted mentor. Mrs. Revel always offers help to struggling students and is always accommodating when someone is having a hard day, the student said. I remember all the times I had been having a hard time with math, and I always said, I am not good at math. She had always replied with, yet. You aren't yet. It'll be okay, I promise. That has always resonated with me, still to this day. The student also recollected her sudden loss of a family member. I cannot explain or put into words how grateful I am to have had Mrs. Revel in my life during this hard time. She always knew what I needed and how to handle my breakdowns. I will always cherish the gentleness and kindness I received from her. No matter what, she is the most supportive person you can have in your life. From the Lake Forest School District, Chipman Middle Social Studies teacher Stephen West.
My mom, being a teacher for over 30 years, actually worked in the district that I graduated from and I currently work in. And I was able to work with her students in small group settings. I was able to see that teaching kind of from an outsider's perspective, right? I know my mom was a teacher. She taught me, and I always thought she was a good teacher, but then seeing it as an older student, the interactions, the positivity, the climate and culture, it was just, that's what sparked my fire to become a teacher. Most of what I teach, or pretty much all of what I teach, can be applied to what is going on here and now in the world. It's geography, it's humans reacting with the environment. Education has to be relevant to the students. It has to be on their level, something that they can latch onto and use. The tough thing is to try and get them interested in some place they've never even heard of before, right? So we do that in a lot of ways. One of the great shows I love showing them from different cultures is Andrew Zimmer's Bizarre Foods. My co-teacher and I, we actually do a Bizarre Foods Chipman edition, where at the end of the year, all the sixth graders will come down. We will find foods and drinks from around the world. All their teachers in the building will make things, and we'll go class by class. We'll give them a little brief description of what it is, who eats it, where do they eat it. This past year, we did it. Every single kid that tried something said they found something they liked. While we're all different around the world, we're all eating foods and we're all connected by what's with us and what's around us and what we have. And it's just, they latch onto those things.
What truly distinguishes Mr. West is his dynamic approach to teaching, one that champions equity, collaboration, and a student-centric ethos, said a colleague, adding, his classroom is known for its inclusive, positive culture where growth is celebrated, feedback is embraced, and a palpable spirit of collaboration pervades. Mr. West's unique ability to forge connections with all individuals he encounters, drawing upon his life experiences and popular cultural references, creates an environment primed for academic excellence. In instructional technology, Mr. West's mastery is evident in his capacity to leverage data for informed decision-making and his strategic integration of the latest technological tools. He consistently takes calculated risks to adapt and tailor his strategies to suit the ever-evolving needs of his students. A prime example being his recent focus on educating students about AI technology like ChatGPT, a crucial skill for 21st century learners. From the Laurel School District, Laurel High Agri-Science teacher Matthew Wood.
CTE, it stands for Career and Technical Education. It is basically, a lot of times we refer to it as your pathway classes, but these are the courses that students enroll in where they get hands-on experiences and really get the opportunity to develop skills and prepare themselves for their future, whatever profession they choose to go into. Definitely a big motivator, really seeing students buy into the programming. And one of the awesome things with CTE is we have these student organizations for agri-science education. We have FFA, so we have student leadership conferences and opportunities for students to compete at the local, state, and national level. So seeing students buy into these different opportunities throughout the year, even during summer, is a motivator for me to kind of keep going and put more energy into what I do because I know that my students are reaping the benefits from it. I had a student 4 years ago who walked into my class and she said, "Mr. Wood, nothing against you, but I think I want to be a chef. I think I want to do culinary." And one of the last things I told her was, just give it a try. Give me a try. And she took my class, and then the year went on, and then she enrolled in the second level, the third level, and now she just graduated from Laurel High School. She actually just got accepted into Cornell University. She's going to Cornell, and she will be majoring an agriculture major. So it's heartwarming to see kind of the impact that really CTE teachers, and all teachers in general, but CTE teachers have on their students.
One colleague called Wood a visionary, describing how he passionately advocated for Laurel's agriculture program, creating a cohesive educational experience spanning the middle and high schools. Throughout his tenure, the agricultural program has undergone significant growth. Originally limited to the plant science pathway, the program at Laurel High School now offers students a broader range of opportunities thanks to the recent adoption of the animal science and work-based learning initiatives. The school has been able to hire a second agriculture teacher, introducing new courses, and fill a critical educational gap, his colleague said, noting, "Our agriculture program has grown beyond expectations under his stewardship, while taking on the demanding role of teaching AP Environmental Science with astonishing success. These achievements have garnered recognition not only within Laurel, but across the state." From the Milford School District, Banneker Elementary art teacher, Victoria Hudson.
When people hear that I teach art to 1st through 5th graders, they say things like, "Wow, you must be brave. I can't draw. I only draw stick figures." Well, stick figures are still drawing. It shows that you overcame the fear of not making something perfect and just did it. That's the first step. Taking the risk and just doing it. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, because there are no mistakes in art. Anyone that knows me will tell you I'm famous for saying that. And no one knows it's a mistake unless you tell them it's a mistake. We call it a beautiful oops, so that they can use it and turn it into something else. I believe the concept of revising your work after noting how to make it better carries across the content areas. It helps students in assessing their work and the work of others. The skill of giving formative feedback to others makes them valuable team members. Art encourages divergent thinking and problem-solving skills and strengthens the teamwork and social skills that students need to be college and career ready. Art gives each student self-confidence that is priceless. That self-confidence spreads into every other aspect of that person's life, improving their mindset and mental health. So many students and adults as well suffer from different issues facing them today. And I believe one of my strengths is to provide coping skills and outlets through art and creativity to help people express themselves in any situation and thrive. When I hear someone say, "I can't believe I made something this beautiful," I am full of pride, and I know that I'm fulfilling my purpose as an art teacher.
Hudson began her career as a first grade teacher, serving in various teaching and leadership roles before her current role as art teacher. That background helps her excel now, a colleague said. Ms. Hudson's passion for her content is evident to everyone who steps into her classroom. Her teaching experiences have also taught her that children come from all various home lives and experiences that impact how they sometimes enter our doors. Ms. Hudson's goal is to make sure that all children are given what they need as individuals to succeed. She has learned, and continues to learn, strategies to support students when they are having difficulty regulating. She truly believes that all children are unique, and our job as educators is to form relationships with each to find the way to make each one successful. From the Newcastle County Vocational Technical School District, Delcastle Technical High science teacher Tim Dorsey.
So when I was in college, I didn't start out in education. I started out marketing and then went into environmental science. Then I realized I had been tutoring people this whole time, and that really got me excited. That's really what was enjoyable, was helping people learn things. I got certified in all the sciences because I wanted to teach, and it just ended up they needed chemistry, my second year teaching, and I said, all right, let's do it. At first I was apprehensive because, full disclosure, I didn't pass a chemistry class in college. I had to retake it, and I knew it wasn't my strong suit. When I was in school, sometimes things were tough, or I had some tough moments I was going through, and those teachers were there to help me out, and they really helped make a difference in my life and set me on a really wonderful path. So that really kind of gave me an appreciation for what my students were going through. I mean, that's why we became teachers, right? Is to help these students find who they are and achieve that potential. Everybody is unique. Everybody has their own aspirations and interests and stuff. So helping students identify what those traits are in themselves and then pushing them to achieve that is really kind of the goal I see as being an educator. And so taking a class that students may hear about ahead of time, chemistry, and then having them find the connection to it or the enjoyment in it is really, really cool experience.
Dorsey is committed to fostering student development both inside and outside the classroom, his superintendent said, pointing to his involvement in hosting student panels for staff members as a unique contribution. These panels, such as the discussion on student learning during the pandemic, not only provided valuable insights for our educators, but also showcased Tim's ability to bridge the gap between students and staff, fostering a collaborative and informed learning environment, he said. Dorsey also recently took on the newly developed role of administrative intern. What struck the intern interview committee regarding Tim, his superintendent said, is his depth of knowledge regarding the curriculum, his understanding of student dynamics, his instructional prowess, and his desire to lead and influence beyond the walls of Delcastle. From the Polytech School District, Polytech High automotive technology teacher Shannon Legg.
I teach a work-based learning environment, so I am a hands-on class. We do roughly between 700 to 1,000 cars a year in my shop. Treat it fast-paced and give everybody a certain type of skill. You know, the students get real-life experience because they have to look at it, diagnose it, tell me the problem. And then, you know, I have all the parts over on the shelf because I've already pre-diagnosed them. They have to show me how they come up with the answer. And then I give them the part and they fix the car. And just to watch that whole process. Now, mind you, some days it happens in one day, some days it happens in a week, but I make them get there and learn. When I was in the automotive field, I was making incredible money, and I was teaching night school at night, trying to get adults trained. And I went home one day and I told my wife, I said, you know, if that daytime job ever opens, I'm going to apply. A month later, I applied. It was a lot to swallow to get rid of the salary that I was making. But once I came in, first day, I was like, man, I just feel so much better. I was literally addicted to that life. And I was like, I come here and I can give it all to the kids and just watch them grow. 29 years in the field, I probably lost that sensation of enjoyment. Now just watching them push a car or talk about cars, or, you know, every morning I get about 12 kids that walk through just to say hello. Those are the mornings I like.
Seeing Mr. Legg be there for me, and all of his other students, really showed me the kind of man he is, a former student said. Mr. Legg is a selfless man who will jump at any opportunity to help those around him. He is the type of man you can depend on when you're going through something or need help. His student noted how Legg helped students build or repair cars so they had needed transportation. Mr. Legg's actions that he has done for his students were not things he had to do because he is a teacher. They were things he wanted to do for us because he cares for all students, he said, adding, even now, he still tries to check up on me after I've graduated and am working in the field as an automotive technician. From the Red Clay Consolidated School District, Ritchie Elementary 5th grade teacher Angela Morrow.
I just have this innate desire to help people and to want to help people grow. I love working with students. I love working with student teachers. I love empowering people. And I love knowing that I have made a very small impact on a very large population. I feel like the more that I spend time developing relationships and talking with my students and working with them, the more I have realized the importance of taking the time to know these kids and to know these individuals, not just know them as kids or students, but they're individuals. And I feel like because I've taken that time, the students know that they truly can hear me, they can trust me, that I support them and I'll work with them. And even if they don't get it right now, they're going to get it. If they haven't got it, I'm not going to let them fail because that's just not an option. And I'm going to do it with them the entire way there. I don't know that there is a specific reason I became a teacher so much that I just genuinely love helping people grow and learn. The more the students realize that you see them as a person, that you truly care about them, it's like magic. They want to work harder because, first of all, they really do believe that you believe in them. So they're giving it more effort than perhaps just kind of giving up. And they feel okay making mistakes, and it's a safe space. I think that's the most important part. And the kids feel that way towards each other.
Morrow supports other educators, including serving as a mentor teacher in the year-long residency program. Said her student teacher, she has emphasized addressing the needs of the whole child in addition to demonstrating proper focus boards, alignment of standards-based lesson plans, and ensuring all lessons are engaging for students to address challenges or misconceptions while making learning fun and meaningful. As a mentor teacher, Mrs. Morrow exemplifies a true passion for teaching. Mrs. Morrow has shown patience not only for her students in the classroom, but also for me as I transition into becoming a full-time teacher on my own. My success in this program can be attributed to her modeling firsthand that teaching is not only a profession, but a skill that you continuously develop and nurture for the betterment of your students. From the Seaford School District, Central Elementary Immersion teacher, Karen Diaz-Rios.
When I think about my students and their parents, who many don't even know how to spell their names, they did not attend even elementary school. So when they see somebody from their community making this and being able to use a microphone or this platform, well, who knows, you might inspire somebody else to say, hey, I want to do something else. I can do something else. It is possible. I have that the whole time. My family, they always believe in me, maybe even more than I do. And then it's like a magnet. You keep attracting these people who see what you have and they recognize that they can use that, and I mean that in a positive way, to move things, to make things happen. Yes, I have that support, and I want to be that support for others who need it, who deserve it. I'm here. What am I doing to help them? So it's a huge responsibility that I have on my shoulders. Having arrived here should be a platform, like a stairway, and I should take it and make it an opportunity for others.
Diaz-Rios, a colleague said, strives to develop a sense of agency among her students so they believe in themselves and in each other. Her 4th grade students know that they are mathematicians and they can solve multi-step math problems not only in Spanish, but in English too. The simultaneous development of biliteracy and biculturalism is a visible focus in her classroom, the colleague said, adding, her two-pronged focus on both language and content objectives ensures all students achieve the Common Core state standards while attaining the multiliteracy goals of the dual language immersion program. In addition to her abilities in instructional delivery and planning, Karen has many additional strengths. 2 that stand out are her classroom management and collaboration with her colleagues. Her firm yet caring demeanor ensures that the learning environment in her classroom encourages high levels of rigor and student engagement. From the Smyrna School District, Clayton Elementary Reading Intervention teacher, Laura Massie.
Being a teacher is seeing those moments of that growth where things click with the students, to me, is the most beneficial part of being a teacher. I think that especially students that, have things going on in their home life that you may not even know about, we may not even know about as teachers. I always believe that students that feel safe and protected and nurtured do the best learning. They feel comfortable, and they also feel comfortable to open up about their feelings and other things besides just educational things. And that's what kids need. They need somebody in their life that cares for them. And it makes you think about, one, what sets them off, what can affect them, what learning styles they learn with the best, and you have to adjust your teaching to that. Sometimes those teachers that would stand up in front of the classroom and lecture, that just didn't do much for me. I needed to be hands-on or like highlighting things in my book. So learning about differentiating your instruction and different learning styles has been such an aha moment for me, because I'm like, I see kids that were the same as me, in school, and I'm like, I have to be able to switch things up to meet everyone's needs. I mean, starting with kindergarten students, just to see them and work with those students and watch them grow, or with the 4th graders before they leave our school and go on to the new one, like that they're ready for that next step and that they're going to be able to be successful. That's what I'm super excited about.
The mother of a former student said Massie was a master communicator who involved students and families in the learning. From the first day of school, Laura made my daughter feel comfortable with her caring attitude and her clear expectations and routines. She always keeps the lines of communication with parents open, sending home letters explaining the units of study and completed work, as well as individualized notes and assignments, she said, adding she always knew how her daughter was progressing. Mrs. Massie is quick to celebrate accomplishments with positive praise and certificates. She also frequently sends photos of special classroom events. As a parent, I appreciate having this homeschool connection. From the Sussex Technical School District, Sussex Tech High English Language Arts teacher Anthony Vardo.
I'll tell you the exact second I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I was a reporter at University of Delaware. I was on the school newspaper, journalism through and through. But junior year, halfway through, I helped a guy edit his really, really, really awful essay so he could publish it in the paper. And it became the top story on the first page, and it started off really bad. But he was so happy. He was like, "Oh, we did it. And I was like, hey, this is way better than reporting, helping somebody realize that they can do it, that they can be better, they can improve themselves. So I went down and changed career paths the next day. I think where the disconnect is in education is kids see it as a thing they're being forced to do. And it really should be seen as, hey, here's how I can help you with your life. My job is to help you be smarter and do better and be a better person. It's easy to help the kid who wants to be there and who's going to get the perfect scores and everything like that. But the reward is helping the kid who really doesn't want to be in school, the kid who doesn't understand something. And that moment where you can break through and get them to see things a different way. You try to get them to see what they can get out of the class. And if you promote it, hey, this is going to help you, no matter if you're going to go work on trucks the rest of your life. Learning communication skills and learning how to read things is going to help you. So you have to approach it as an individual. You see the growth. You get to see the kids walk across that stage, the kids that you thought were definitely not going to make it through freshman year without serious disciplinary consequences or something like that. And then they walk across because they have figured out life. And that's the part that brings the weepy eyes and makes your heart go thump thump and all that. It's the payoff.
With 35 years of experience teaching English language arts across all grade levels, including special education inclusion, Vardo is well known and respected, an administrator said. He earns respect with new students every year, and his reputation precedes him. His administrator said he exemplifies good teaching by preparing lessons that are differentiated, engaging, and effective. He seamlessly creates a safe space in his classroom by greeting every student as they enter and by using humor as a classroom management tactic. And finally, from the Woodbridge School District, Woodbridge Early Childhood Education Center multilingual learner teacher Stephanie Sharp.
I did not grow up wanting to be a teacher. I didn't go to college to be a teacher. When I was graduating high school, I told my teachers I wasn't even going to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. I just wanted to stay home with my kids. But when I was thinking about how I got to be a teacher, I kind of fell into it. But I also, the thread that I can see is trying to help and serve people. And so after high school, I went to Guatemala. I worked in an orphanage. That's how I learned Spanish. Then when I came back, I got my bachelor's degree in Spanish, and I worked at a community organization in Georgetown, serving families, and I helped enroll kids in school, serve as a translator liaison for the families. And that's when I kind of saw the real need for especially Hispanic families in Southern Delaware and with the school setting. I feel like that's something I've been doing my whole life. It's trying to find people on the edges and bring them in, trying to see where people are vulnerable and doing what I can in my small way, what I can to bring them closer and bring them part of the community. So for families, when I am able to translate for families or help them understand different school procedures or school trips, things like that, I see them become more involved, see them coming to school more frequently for different events that we have. I see them asking questions about how they can help their student at home. I see them feeling more comfortable in the school setting with that. For students, when I am able to help them, I feel like they have a better buy-in into learning and into learning English and just participating in school, and they can see more of the reason for it. If you have parents and families that are invested in the school, they're going to be making an effort to do what they can at home to further the children's education, which will help them succeed more.
One of the most remarkable aspects of Sharp's teaching approach, her principal said, is her unwavering commitment to creating an equitable educational experience for all students. In an increasingly diverse classroom, she has demonstrated a unique ability to foster an environment where each student's cultural background, learning style, and abilities are not only acknowledged but celebrated. Mrs. Sharp's classroom is a space where differences are embraced and used as tools for learning, helping to break down barriers and create a truly inclusive learning atmosphere where every child feels valued. We are honored tonight to celebrate these outstanding educators. Congratulations to all 20 teachers, and thank you for the differences each and every one of you is making in your classrooms, schools, and communities.
I'd like to offer a special thanks to Daniel Sato of the Government Information Center for producing the video and annual highlight of this special night, and to Wade Steimling for helping us stream our program so your school communities and loved ones can watch as well. I also want to thank my team at the Department of Education who helped make this night possible. Allison, May, and the entire staff at DOE who put this together. Just a great job. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Now, audience, please give these 20 outstanding educators one more round of applause. Before we resume our program, I would like to introduce a special guest who has arrived. Senator Carper always makes it a priority to be at this event, even if he is driving back from Washington after session and doesn't get here until the end of the night. We are so glad, Senator, that you have made it to join us for tonight's announcement. Would you like to share a few words, Senator? We know better, Senator.
Please hold your applause. How you guys doing? No, put them together. Come on, come on. Come on, there you go. All right. I was up at 5 this morning and on an early morning train, and I called my wife at about 6 o'clock this afternoon or this evening. She said, "Where are you?" And I said, "We're on our way to McKinn County for the Teacher of the Year dinner." She said, "You are kidding. Why didn't you should be home for dinner?" And I said, she said, I said, "They'll give me a great dinner here." And they were out of food. So that's okay. I don't need it. I don't need it. Where's Ash? Where's our Teacher of the Year? Current reigning Teacher of the Year. Yeah. Come on up here. Come on up here, please. Put them together. Come on. Put them together. One of the things that I most enjoy is visiting the school and the classroom of the Teacher of the Year. And we just had the best time. But before I met her dad in the restroom at the dinner last year. And he said to me, "My daughter is going to become the Teacher of the Year." And I said, "Well, who are you?" And he said, "I'm her father." And sure enough, you are. And I've gotten to come to her school, to her classroom. She came to work with me one day, and we had like dinner and lunch in the Senate dining room. Just had the best time. And have you had a good year?
I've had an excellent year.
Give her another round of applause. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be brief. I get to visit a lot of schools. In fact, most of the schools that are represented here tonight, I've been there. Probably about half of them I've been your principal for a day, and so I take more than a special interest in this. When I go to schools, we were in a school a couple of weeks ago, and I said, kids are probably 4th, 5th, 6th grade. I said, "What makes for a great teacher?" I said, "What makes for a great teacher?" And it was interesting what the kids had to say. They would say he or she cares about us, cares about all of us. He or she is really a good, what Joe Biden would say, explainer, a real good explainer. Sometimes a kid will say, my teacher is so smart. My teacher is so smart. But one of the things I hear the most is, my teacher makes learning fun. It doesn't have to be boring or anything. It can be fun. And sometimes kids will say, I want my teacher to be my friend someday when I graduate. And later on, I want to come back to her school and your class and to say, here's what I've done with my life. And here's the teacher, my teacher, who helped make that happen. We face huge challenges on our planet these days. You only have to turn on your news to know that. I just come from a meeting with the Secretary of Defense, Assistant Secretary of State, and a whole bunch of folks that are involved in trying to make sure that what's going on in the Middle East doesn't get any worse, and hopefully that it gets better a lot sooner. And we live on a planet our planet is on fire. We had the hottest summer in the history of the country, and there's a guy named Macron, he's the president of France. He has a saying, he says, we only get one planet, there's no planet B. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? And we need a workforce that can help us address that challenge and make sure that your children, my grandchildren have a planet to grow up on, a planet to grow old on. The other thing I would say is, and I'm basically a very optimistic person, but I worry about our democracy. You may worry about our democracy as well. Churchill used to say about democracy, worst form of government devised by wit of man, except for all the rest. It is a hard way to govern. It is a hard way to govern. And Thomas Jefferson used to say, if the people know the truth, they won't make a mistake. Jefferson also used to say, if you expect the people to be ignorant and free, you expect what never was and never will be. And the work that we do in our classrooms does a lot more than just make sure kids can graduate and go on to the rest station of their life. You actually do help preserve our democracy, and you help make sure we have a workforce so that we can be competitive in the world with everybody else. And I'll close with this. The governor and I were up in Philadelphia last Friday with the president and a bunch of other folks. And we were there to address an issue that has to do with helium. You may have heard about that, but about 30% of our carbon dioxide emissions come from our cars, trucks, and vans, about 30%. About 25% come from our power plants to provide us with electricity. Another 20% come from our manufacturing plants. Think of asphalt, think of steel mills, and so forth. Those three, about 80% of our carbon emissions which lead to global warming and greenhouse gases come from those three sources. On every one of those, hydrogen will help us meet the challenge and recognize the opportunities to get where we need to go, provide the electricity that we need, and do so in a way that will provide jobs and economic opportunity. We need the workforce to be able to do that. The workforce, starting in kindergarten, all the way up through high school and all. And believe it or not, most of the people who are going to work in those places, and there are going to be thousands, tens of thousands of people that will be working them, including here in the Delaware Valley. But they don't need a PhD. They don't need a master's degree. They don't even need a bachelor's degree. They just need an education, a good, sound education. It starts when they're young, and it carries on throughout the rest of their life. I just want to say to everybody here who's been honored, thank you for your commitment to our country. Thank you for what you're doing for our country, our state, and for our country. And I know we probably have some parents and some spouses here and some children here that are with our nominees. I just want to say to you, if you happen to have brought one of these nominees into the world as a mom, and if you help to raise them and instill the kind of values in them that led them to this place in their life and this path in their life. If you happen to be a spouse or a child or son or a daughter or sharing your mom or your dad with the rest of us, thank you. You are all doing the Lord's work. And whoever wins tonight, the real winners, as we know, are the kids in our classes and the ones who will go on to do great things with their lives. Congratulations. It's great to be with you tonight. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Each year we bring together a committee representing teachers, administrators, families, and students who review a group of dedicated teachers searching for the person who has the skills, commitment, and passion to represent all the great educators in our state. the teacher they choose. There is an explanation of the process the committee uses in selecting our State Teacher of the Year. As our nominees can attest to, it is quite a rigorous process involving 3 different groups: application readers, classroom observers, and our final judge panel. I'd like to give a special thanks to our readers, observers, and judges for their conscientious and enthusiastic contributions to the selection process. Some of them are with us here tonight. Their names are listed in the back of the program. Thank you. To honor all of our nominees, each will receive a cash grant from the state of $2,000. The person selected as the State Teacher of the Year this evening will receive an additional cash grant of $3,000 plus $5,000 to be used for the educational benefit of his or her students. In this night of excitement, we traditionally thank our reigning Teacher of the Year. Ashley Lockwood has been Delaware's Teacher of the Year for the past 12 months. It's been a year of excitement, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and personal and professional growth. I'm so proud of how well she has represented the First State and thankful that we get to hear from her again tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you our 2023 State Teacher of the Year from the Milford School District, Ashley Lockwood.
Thank you and good evening. I would like to start by congratulating all 20 of these inspiring educators that we are here to celebrate tonight. You all are gifts to the world of education, and we are grateful and better for having you in our classrooms. Each of you has a message that we need to hear, and my hope for you is that after tonight, you continue to share that message with us. Continue to be leaders in your buildings, in your districts, and in your communities. Keep advocating for students and for teachers. Stay connected with one another because, as I've said before, the change that we wish to see comes from strong collaboration, from working together and supporting one another to shed the best light on our profession. 1 year ago in this very room, someone hugged me and whispered in my ear, "Your life is about to change." In that moment, I had no idea just how true that would be. In the last year, my classroom has expanded beyond the walls of Lulu Ross Elementary and into rooms across our state. This journey has granted me the opportunity to share my platform and my passions with pre-service teachers at the University of Delaware and Delaware State University, high school students at the Educators Rising Conference, legislators in DC and at Legislative Hall, community stakeholders at Wilmington University, and at times what felt like the entire world. This journey led me to California, where I would meet 55 teachers from every state and a few territories, people that I am now bonded with forever because of this very special experience. It has led me to an up-close town hall meeting with First Lady Dr. Biden and Secretary Cardona, and a very, very memorable shout out from President Biden. It led me to Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama in the middle of the summer, where I learned what it felt like to be a student again. With all of those experiences and with all of those changes, there's one thing that has remained the same. There's one thing that has been reaffirmed over and over throughout this year. My heart will always be in my classroom. Teaching is my purpose, and every experience that I've had this year has led me back to that realization. There is still so much work to be done for our kids, and I'm determined to continue the work that I've started this year. Representing the profession as Teacher of the Year is a full-time job. I could not have done it without the love, support, and encouragement of some incredible people. There are many to thank, but to name a few, my family and friends, my students, the staff at Lulu Ross, the Milford School District, Allison May, Secretary Holodick, the Delaware Department of Education, and the Delaware Teachers of the Year who came before me. Thank you. Recently, I've been asked the question, how do you feel now that it's over? Well, the best part of this experience is that it's never over. It never ends. This is truly just the beginning. On the first night of our national orientation, we stood in a circle and introduced ourselves for the first time with our new titles. Afterward, we were told by our director that you will never be a former Teacher of the Year. You will never be a past Teacher of the Year. You will always be a State Teacher of the Year. The opportunities will change, but the responsibility to uplift teaching and advocate for students will always be your work to do. To represent Delaware, my home, teaching, which is the most important profession there is, my colleagues and our students, has been and will always be the greatest honor of my life. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much for all of your support. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Now the moment we have all been waiting for. It is a pleasure to introduce to you once again the governor of our great state, the Honorable John Carney, who will announce our 2024 Delaware Teacher of the Year.
As I get ready to open this envelope, let me give us one more round of applause for all of our Teachers of the Year. To paraphrase our outgoing Teacher of the Year, you will always be District Teachers of the Year. And if I could open this envelope, the 2024 Teacher of the Year is Corey Hafer of Appoquinimink School District.
I definitely was not anticipating this. We were told to prepare some words, and I thought about who I would think, and then I kind of stopped there. Holy water buffaloes. That one goes out for Steve Landry. I definitely would not still be a teacher if it were not for my wife, Jocelyn, who has encouraged me over the last 11 years, been a sounding board for ideas, and who has helped me maintain balance in a very, very demanding profession. So thank you for all the support that you've given me and keeping me here. And I definitely would not be the teacher that I am without all of the support. I've been in the profession for 11 years. I've been given lots of feedback, shared ideas with colleagues, and it's been incredible to have those people shape who I've become. I have the best engineering team that I work with in Appo District, Amanda Binkley and Steve Landry over there representing us. My instructional coach, Devin Jacob, has been incredible at helping me think about new ideas to try in the classroom and reminding me that taking risks is worth it, because we can always get better and improve. And then the support that I have from my admin, Amanda Conley, Joe Lahutsky, Nell, and Mandaria. Thank you so much for providing a space where I can take those risks and try things for our students. And then finally, Apo District, our board, our district leadership, I really appreciate the space you've created where, again, you inspire us to innovate, give us tools to develop, and show us that we're never done learning as teachers. Beyond that, it's 8:43. I don't want to keep us here too much longer. I'm very excited to share, my reflective journey with future educators and other people in the future. But the biggest thing I take away from this experience is that I've learned a lot about how important it is to build those connections. And when you look at all of the 20 candidates, everyone kind of talked about that idea that building connections and creating an educational space where students are excited to learn and connected with the real world is going to lead to really meaningful education. So I'm very honored to represent the state of Delaware and bring our student voice nationally. Thank you very much.
I want to close this evening's ceremonies by offering congratulations not only to our new State Teacher of the Year, but to all of our honorees here tonight. You have been chosen by your peers to represent all teachers in your school districts or the charter network because you truly deserve it. And please remember, to all of those teachers, 20 teachers, to take your framed photograph with you as a gift from us. It is well deserved. And finally, I would like to offer my sincere thanks again to Voya and our General Assembly for their leadership and incredible generosity and support for our Teacher of the Year program. I hope this evening has been as special for all of you as it has been for me. It always is. Let us end with one final salute to the local Teachers of the Year and to Delaware's 2024 Teacher of the Year. Congratulations to all of you. Drive safely and have a good night.